Do you live in Eagle River and curious about what's been happening in the local real estate market for the first quarter of 2023? Let's take a peek. So, week 2 of March, we had less properties on the market for single family residences, condos, townhouses, and multifamily. A few more vacant land listings than what we had under contract. Week 2, same thing existed. And by the end of the first quarter of 2023, we had less single family residences on the market, as well as condo townhouses and multifamily properties. So what does this look like? As you can see, the lighter orange is the number of active listings that we actually had on the market. The blue, the darker blue, is pendings, and the darker orange is actually closings. So you can see that we definitely are low in inventory, except for in vacant land, where you can see the lighter orange is much taller. Well, that's because we have more vacant land properties on the market than we have been able to put under contract and or sold. Condos and townhouses, we have about equal amount of active properties on the market, properties that went under contract and properties that closed. So let's take a peek at 2022 to 2023. Sold properties in Eagle River in 2022, 125 single-family residences. This year, only 65. Condos and townhouses. Last year, we had sold 12 by this time. This year, we've only sold 6. And multifamilies, we sold 3 last year. By this time, this year, only 1. So we're at half of our number of average closings so far this year, except for in vacant land. We're holding steady with closings in vacant land. How about average sales price? Have we seen a dramatic change in average sales price? Only when it came to multifamily. We had quite a large couple sales in multifamily last year in the first quarter versus this year. Otherwise, everything else has fairly remained the same in pricing. Now, what about days on market? It's taking a little bit longer to sell a single family home and a condo townhouse this year. Last year, it took longer to sell a multifamily than it did this year. And land is taking a bit longer to sit on the market and actually get under contract and close. So why is the housing market not going to crash? Even though the news is saying some things, inflation, recession, housing market crash, what is the truth? Well, mortgage meltdown required lenders to become tightened with their requirements. Lots of new practices were put into place. So guess what? We have way more qualified buyers now. They're very tightly qualified after the mortgage meltdown. So we're not looking at that loosey-goosey type of qualification anymore. Buyers are extremely well qualified and have been for years now. We also don't see a ton of foreclosures. Now, in the height of the mortgage meltdown, we had over 500,000 foreclosures on the market in the United States. In 2019, we had under 100,000. That's about where it should be. That's the average. Now you can look at the rest of the green chart and it looks a little funny. Well, remember we had a pandemic. So consequently, during the pandemic, when the courthouses are closed, there was no foreclosures. There was no allowance of foreclosures. So banks have been sitting on properties that they should have had go into foreclosure and actually sold as this asset 2020, 2021, and 2022 that didn't happen. So you are going to see a little uptick in foreclosures only because banks have been sitting on that inventory for 2 to 3 years. At the same time, there's also an undersupply of homes available today. So right now we're sitting in an average of 2.7 months worth of inventory on the market at the end of 2022. In the height of the mortgage meltdown in 2008, we were sitting on 10.4 months of inventory. When we're sitting in that type of inventory, we're in a buyer's market. So as you can see at 2.7, we are still very much in a seller's market. Home price gains. What's really great too is during 2008, not only did we have loosey-goosey lending standards that led to that, people used their homes like ATMs, so there wasn't the equity in their properties, and properties did start depreciating because they had been oversold. So right now, over the past years, we have seen a steady appreciation rate which is lovely because people have equity in their property today. How much have home prices changed? Well, during the pandemic, we saw equity go as high as 39.7%. Right now, starting in July of last year and through today, we are seeing properties stabilize. Sellers are not able to get that additional equity out of their home. We still are definitely seeing multiple offers, and we're definitely seeing offers in favor of sellers so that sellers are actually netting more money. Doesn't necessarily mean that the house is going to sell for a ton more money, but the terms of the contract allow the seller to walk away with more money. And that's how we're seeing a lot of deals structured right now. What's the impact of a 1% mortgage change? Pre-October 2022, we saw interest rates 3.5%, 3%. Now they're sitting anywhere between 6 to 7%. So what's the impact? You get an offer on the property today, the buyer's pre-qualified, everything's great at 6%. Oh my gosh. 19 days later, post-home inspection, post-repairs, negotiation, appraisal order, rates go to 7%. Now the buyer is going to have to agree to pay another $213.69 a month in their mortgage payment. Nothing about them changed. The mortgage rates went up. So as a seller, you need to be cognizant of this, that actually an increase in mortgage interest rate does impact the buyer and their ability to purchase and their ability to qualify. So always ask that question. If rates went to 9%, does the buyer still qualify? I know that might sound crazy. However, rates right now are sitting between 5.5% and 7.5%, depending on credit and terms and what you're trying to do for a mortgage. So, done with winter, ready to move on, don't want to spend another winter here in Alaska next year. Where are you going to go if you sold your house? You might consider a newly built home. What are the advantages of a newly built home? Well, basically, a lot of times your builders will offer concessions, as well as they'll team up with a mortgage lender to help do some difference in rates and in some fees. So always looking at taking advantage of builders' concessions. Also, when you're buying new construction, it really shouldn't have to think about repairs to the property. I highly recommend you get a home inspection when you buy new construction because subcontractors are subcontractors. And the beauty of buying new construction is typically they come with all the bells and whistles of an energy efficient home. So whether you're moving down south to get to warmer weather, you're going to have to cool that property in the summertime. So you're going to want to think about energy efficient options. If you stay here in Alaska, you're going to need to think about energy efficient options. Definitely saves on the utility bills. Benefits of an existing home. Well, an existing home oftentimes has built-ins that you can't find anywhere else. They've been lovingly built. They have hardwood floors, some amazing features to them. Also, definitely wide variety of designs and floor plans out there for existing properties. And oftentimes you get to enjoy the fact that the current owner has already landscaped, put in a driveway, definitely has window treatments, appliances, all of those things oftentimes come with an existing home. So you have to weigh the two options. Do I want to buy new or do I want to buy existing? And today there's options out there for you to take a peek at. I put together a spring guide for both buyers and sellers. So if you're interested in making a move this year, thinking about it, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to share that digital copy with you. You can reach me on my phone by texting me or calling me, or you can email me. I do live and work right here in Alaska and sell real estate every single day. So feel free to reach out to me. And I'll see you in April when I do the end of the month recap of what happened in Eagle River in April 2023. Call me if you have any questions.